Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest and greatest episode of Game Rivals. I'm one of your hosts, Maximilian X, and as always, with me is the one, the only, the man who is in pole position every time with every turn. It's Sean Templar. How's it going, Sean?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. It's been an interesting time. There's been a lot of gaming news.
Finally.
Um, I've been playing some games. The weather
Yay.
has been absolutely ridiculous. Thank you. It's climate change. Um, but yeah, I mean, everything is starting to move towards stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we'll just start with the news right away, and then after that, we have what we've been playing. Actually, you know what? There's one news that I did not put on our list that I kind of forgot, but it is something that we probably should talk about as soon as possible because E3 is officially canceled for 2022.
Yes. I think this is the part where E3 just slowly starts to die off because nobody cares anymore.
Well, they're gonna give it one more shot in 2023, so who knows?
Yeah, I
They
mean,
said they're gonna change the format again,
yeah.
so we'll see.
I don't know, I think because of the pandemic, a lot of companies proved that they can get their stuff out there and just still get the same amount of buzz, if not even more buzz, because they are far more in control of the narrative. Because at E3, it's like a couple of days where there's a shitload of games and publishers there, and you have to kind
Hmm.
of hope that your game gets noticed between all the big people, you know. And um, if it doesn't, well, good luck. Then you need to adapt a whole different strategy. But now what happens is you just do a state of play or a Ubisoft Forward or a Xbox ID at Xbox or
Whatever.
whatever they call it. Yeah, or a Nintendo Direct or something else, And then you get, I mean, like Sony did a couple of state of plays this year. I think by far the most exciting one was the one for Hogwarts Legacy because that generated
Hmm.
like a lot of buzz because a lot of people were looking forward to that game, and it was 20 minutes or something like that. But I mean, it was 20 minutes of Hogwarts Legacy, and I don't think that game would have gotten 20 minutes in some E3 showcase unless it was like a live demo with a website like IGN where they invite people over and do these segments. So like that game got maximum exposure. So why would they need E3 after this? And I think that goes for a lot of games. It's like, why does it need E3? And I mean, journalists can get remote hands-on now through all sorts of software that we have these days. So like even the part where they need to play it is not an issue anymore. So it feels like E3 is this, it's
Uh,
weird to say, but it feels like it's this ancient thing that's only being kept alive so that the players, the gamers themselves can experience it. But that's not why E3 was originally conceived. It was conceived as a
no,
trade show
this was a
for
trade show.
retailers and publishers. So, like, somewhere around that lifespan, it turned into this fan event, which is cool. But still, I mean, like, I personally, I'm not going to go to Gamescom this year. You'll probably want to go, but like, I won't go because I'm not looking forward to standing in line for 3-4 hours to be able to play something. Like, I do not have the patience anymore. Besides, maybe getting COVID again, because that stuff is still out there. I mean, like, what was it 3 years ago? They had to shut the
Mm-mm.
doors because, or
Yeah.
like in 2019, they had to shut the doors because it was so crowded inside. People would be taken to the hospital by an ambulance because of fatigue or dehydration or what. I'm like, what are we talking about? This is
Nerds
gaming.
not be taking good care of themselves though in
Yeah,
those kind of
yeah. So like, I'm
situations.
not gonna. I don't want to be there. I don't want to lose my spot in line because some dodo fell over because he didn't drink enough water, and then the ambulance had to take him away. And then they're like, "Oh, sorry, the line is closed after this. You're the one before you gets to play it, but you're not allowed anymore. Sorry, we're closed for today." Like, no, just no. I do not feel like wasting my time on that stuff. So
But I want to go. Okay, you know what? Okay, right. You know what? I I get what you're saying.
yes.
I honestly would love to go, but if we like if by some miracle we got like trade passes,
Even
we were
that
able
is,
to get
yeah, but like,
and if we were able to get one-on-one time
yeah,
with different like publishers and developers and
yeah,
like do like behind closed doors plays like let's plays
yeah.
or whatever or like play demos, that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
but everybody wants that. But that's it. Not everybody gets that.
That's true.
Yeah,
We are not big enough to get something
yeah,
like that,
and that's
unfortunately.
okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've done it before in 2008. It was really cool, but um, to be able to get to that point was a huge
It's
hassle.
a lot of, yeah,
Yeah, you have
exactly.
to jump through a lot of hoops, and
That's the only downside,
yeah,
the hoop jumping.
yeah,
Yeah.
and especially in these days, you, I mean, they rather have some Instagrammer given access, and I'm not gonna name anything, but they'd rather have an Instagrammer gain access because he or she
They're
has,
an
yeah,
influencer.
they're an influencer, barf, and then like they won't they're doing the game a disservice because they're not even being genuine. They're like more like, oh, this is cool content I can post, but they're not even like, I'm really genuinely interested in this game, I like it. I would rather have
Yeah.
a smaller page which is more passionate about something get access than somebody that bought followers, is around 10K, looks cool, and then post the most disingenuous stuff about a game, and then you're like, you're just insulting this game, so please don't talk about it because you're making me not want to buy it, whereas I actually want to buy this game.
Mm.
But I actually think
Yeah,
that a
I
lot of
mean
yeah,
yeah, that's kind of the disappointing thing about like, the whole influencer culture
yeah,
is that you have those that are truly passionate,
yeah,
but they are kind of overshadowed by the ones that are not as much.
yep,
And honestly, I'd rather do something like that so I can get time with the developer and talk to them about the game that they're making
yeah,
and doing a piece on that,
yeah.
like as a podcast piece or like an interstitial or whatever, than just having like, yo, yeah, free products and blah blah blah, and then like making an Instagram post about
I
it.
really don't care about free stuff.
That doesn't really like
Yeah,
do it for me, like personally.
me neither. I
Like
mean,
it's cool,
yeah, I've
but
I've
not for
done
me.
developer interviews, and it's just really
It's
really
cool,
cool.
right?
Yeah, because those people are super passionate.
Yeah.
I remember in 2008 when the Saboteur was in development. I did an interview with one of the developers from Pandemic Studios, and it was super cool because the guy was just so passionate about the Saboteur. I got excited. Sad that the game didn't perform as expected. I still played it, but like I got super excited about uh the game, and the guy just was really passionate to show it. And like if you have like original questions, they'll even like it even more, and they'll tell you even more. Like there was this moment where I remember the CEO of Crytek was I was at GDC, and it was the CEO of Crytek was there. I had seen him, so I went to this press lady
Mm,
and I said like, hey, can I have an interview with the CEO? And she's like, yeah, he's not here. And at that moment, he came walking out of the door. I was like, "Oh, that's funny," because I see him walking right there. And she looked at me. She's like, "Damn you!" She's like, "I'll be right back." And she went to him and she talked to him. And then she came back and she said, you got 15 minutes. So set up your stuff and you get 15 minutes with him. And I'm like, okay. So I was there with a friend and we had this camera and a tripod and the whole shebang. So we set that up. And then he walked
mm,
over and everybody has like a badge with their name and their title and from which publication they are. And he's like, oh, hey, man, cool, blah, blah. He was just talking to me. And then we talked for like 10 minutes and then we did the interview for another 15, and then we even did like an off the record talk for like another 20 minutes. So she was like, oh, I only had 15 minutes, but I had this super cool conversation with the guy. And then he enjoyed it so much that his girlfriend walked up and she was like, yo, can I take a picture of you too? And I'm like, okay, I'm a
okay.
nobody, but that's cool. And I even got a picture with the dude. So like in the end, I talked to the guy for like 40 minutes, whereas I was only allowed 15 minutes. And that was because we had a genuine conversation because we were sharing the passion, and that was really cool. So I'm like, I want that. I don't have to have Crisis for free. I don't care. I want that. And that's honestly
Exactly.
the coolest stuff there is.
That is the coolest stuff there is.
Yeah.
That's like when you have genuine conversations with people about passions. That's honestly the best thing ever
Yeah,
because then you get into like a lot of the nitty gritty,
yeah,
and you get even way more information than you probably could ever imagine.
yeah,
That's the cool stuff.
yeah.
Um,
But that will probably not be
but
existent anymore because E3 is going away.
yeah, but guess who's happy about that? I'm sorry. I know that he's not. I know that he's not actively happy about it, but
It works in his
he kind
favor.
of did a little. He kind of did a little. The Flash meme where the actor of the Flash TV show was like um doing like the peace sign over the grave, and it's I think it's technically his grave.
Yeah.
Um, and then people like put images of like, oh, this is the thing that's dead, and this is the new thing that's being like sup. Like I think someone instantly made a meme of that with like E3 and like Jeff Keighley's like yeah,
Yeah.
because he was like just like as soon as that was announced, he's like, yo, but check this out, Summer of Games
Yeah.
still on.
Yeah.
Like that is like I feel like Summer of Games might actually take over what E3 used to
I
be,
think so. Yeah.
and specifically looking at stuff like fan facing
Hmm.
is like way better produced. I don't want to say that it's actually better produced. It's better in the sense of there's structure to it.
Hmm.
It's longer than E3. Although to be fair, the 3 days when stuff actually got announced during E3 felt like Christmas,
Yeah.
and like the like video game Christmas. I'm going to miss that feeling. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. I'm
Yeah.
gonna miss that feeling.
Me too.
I don't think that Summer of Games captures that same moment. It
Nope.
does something different.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It can do something different, can be something different.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Um, but it is kind of weird that he just immediately was like, but Summer of Games, check it out.
Yeah,
It's
but I
like
think at this point, eventually, either E3 does their thing next year and it won't pan out because it'll be like,
we won't know until we see it. We
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
until we
But at
see
this
it.
point, it feels like this old dog trying to adapt to the new ways, but it's just too old to adapt to the new ways. So like either they'll do next year and it won't turn out as they wanted, because I mean, like for example, I don't think Sony's joining because Sony dropped out of E3 in
Oh no,
2019.
no, no. And Sony is never joining again.
Yes, because
They're
Sony does
pretty
their
strict.
own event like after E3, like after the summer, and until this moment, they've only done it twice now, but it's been like a huge success every time. And then Microsoft, of course, will try to cap, but Microsoft will be there because it's like Microsoft's trying to bridge the gap between the old and the new. But eventually, I think Microsoft's going to drop out as well. And then what will happen is E3 will probably go away, and Summer Games Fest or whatever it's called will just be there, and then it'll be like what, a month again. I just don't think the
Mhm.
month thing works because they're like the schedule is so confusing for me because they do like
Was it a month last year? I think it was shorter.
I don't know, but I remember that like it was so
Um,
confusing because they had like these bite-sized things, but there was a lot of space between them. So eventually, I was like confused because I'm like, oh, they dropped something again. Oh, okay. I'd rather have them do like 2 weeks or something. And usually they kick it off with opening night live, where Jeff Keighley just presents the show and does all these world premiere exclusive stuff, which is cool. I think that will definitely be a thing he just keeps in because that's his thing. But yeah, I think it's just gonna go away. And I mean, Nintendo doesn't need E3; they do their direct. Sony doesn't need
mhm.
E3 because they do their state of plays or their PlayStation Showcase, their longer form. Microsoft needs to
Mhm.
figure something out. They have this
Microsoft is
identity.
in a really nebulous place when it comes to stuff
Yeah,
like
they have
this.
an identity
Good.
crisis. Yeah, and EA has said that they're not gonna do EA Play. They're gonna just do um, stuff around their games when they feel the time is right for it or when it's ready. Ubisoft does
Basically, they're saying that they don't have squat to show.
probably because basically, yeah, I mean, yeah, and then Ubisoft has their Ubisoft Forward thing. Well, Activision, whatever they're gonna do this year, they won't do a trade show or an event because they're basically being absorbed by Microsoft if the deal gets approved. Because I read that there were some
Mhm.
regulatory issues about the deal and that they might object to the deal. So maybe the whole Microsoft acquisition might actually not go through. I mean, everybody thought that Nvidia was going to buy ARM, and that didn't happen in the end. Uh,
Nope. Thank goodness.
yeah, so I mean, this could be a situation wherein regulators say like, "Hey, but no, 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 because you're going to get a pretty big slice of the game industry, and we don't want that monopoly position." Um, but yeah, I mean,
Actually, if I might I might actually think that they might say that Activision might have to break up or break stuff off before they allow the
could
purchase.
be, yeah, spin stuff off. I mean, they could just trim the fat and just kick out the stuff that actually doesn't turn in a lot of money, like their toys branded game stuff or whatever. I mean, they
Well,
have
that already died years ago. So,
no. I mean, like the studio that does Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. You know, I don't know if those studios bring in a
oh,
lot
you
of
mean
money.
Toys for Bob?
Yeah, stuff like that. I don't know if that's like a
Yeah.
super profitable part for them or. I mean, they'll
Well,
basically
they
want to keep the Call of Duty segment, but that's like the only segment they have, and the Blizzard segment.
but they all work on Call of Duty.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so sad. Oh my god.
yeah,
We'll talk about Activision Blizzard in a bit.
yeah,
There's a bunch of stuff also around that came out in the news,
yeah.
but suffice to say, it's gonna be an interesting summer
I guess.
because I don't at this point because normally I take like a week off of E3,
Well, you
but
don't
now
have
I
to
don't
do
even
this.
know. But that's the thing, right? I don't know if Summer Game Fest is gonna do anything in that same time period because they did that last year.
Yeah, but I think they'll do it, but you won't have to take the week off because it'll be so scattered that you'll just be able to catch up on stuff after work.
Yeah, I don't like doing that either.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll see.
It's
We'll
always
see.
good to take time off, but that's another thing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely. um, but we're not taking time off now because if we do, um, we might not be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Afford the new PlayStation tiers.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, or you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, Sony
Because this
fun.
was the big thing. This was Project Spartacus.
Yeah, but the funny thing is like I think that there's like people are expecting something completely different compared to what it is. So like
Yeah.
Sony announced their new tiers for PlayStation Plus. So it's consisting of three tiers. You have the essential tier, which is basically PlayStation Plus as we have it, and then you have the extra tier, which will include up to 400 games of PS4 and PS5, and some of the
Yeah, I
games.
got it here. Yeah.
Yeah, and some
Yeah.
of the
Yeah. Up to 4 games.
yeah, and some of the games included are Returnal and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So it doesn't have Forbidden West, it doesn't have Gran Turismo. It's not gonna do the day and date, at least for now, the day and date stuff that Xbox does. And then you have the premium tier, which will include um, up to 400 PS4 and PS5 games and up to 700 PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games. And you're able to stream them or to download some of them and play them on your
Yeah. So
console.
PlayStation 3 is stream only,
Yeah,
and certain PlayStation 2, PlayStation, and PSP games and PS4 games will either be stream or download,
yeah,
which is super duper weird because of this. PlayStation Now is going bye bye.
yeah. They're merging it
They're
into premium.
basically merging it
Yeah,
into one.
yeah,
So the PlayStation Now aspect is in PlayStation Plus Premium
yeah,
for the countries that support PlayStation Now.
yeah,
If your country does not support PlayStation Now, you can't get PlayStation Plus Premium. You can get PlayStation Plus Deluxe, which basically does the same thing minus the streaming games.
okay. Well, that's still good. And I think it's also limited game demos or game trials
What
included.
the hell? Okay, first of all, demos should never be tied to anything
No,
paid.
but I think in this
Ever.
case, it's like the trial they did for in the UK a couple of months ago, where they put out like a 5 hour trial of Death Stranding, and then if you bought the game, you would be able to transfer your save over. So it's like that instead of like a
But it
game
doesn't
demo.
say that it's like that. It said time limited trials. Okay, to be fair, Nintendo does this too with the Nintendo Switch Online stuff.
Yeah,
But I don't like that either. Because
Yeah.
what it is it allows you to play the game for a week,
Hmm.
like the full game for a week. The save file stays on your system.
Yeah.
And then what they usually do is in that week and a little bit beyond that, the game is on discount.
Yeah.
So if you like the game, you can then buy it at a discount. It's like, just give me a demo so I can just take my time or whatever,
Yeah.
instead of giving me the full game and just being like, "Ooh, you like that taste? You want some more?" Like a gosh darn crack dealer or something.
Wow. Okay.
Like it's great, but it's like not ideal,
I
you know?
prefer the
And plus
carrot
the
and the
fact that you have
stick
to
example.
but the fact that you have to pay for it is the part that kind of pisses me
I
off.
get that.
Because if you're gonna do something like that, then just do it for
Yeah,
free.
but
Like,
I
don't
think
pay for it, and then still do the discount, because that way you have access to way more people, i.e., everybody that owns the gosh darn console
yeah,
will be able to play it for a week for free, and then they'll make the decision if they want to buy it or not. At this point, you have to buy into that.
yeah. But I think in this case, it's just them trying to add as much value to the tiers and still keep the tiers segmented. The thing is that a lot of people are making a big
Then
fuss.
add it to essential. Honestly, then add it to essential.
Yeah,
Makes more sense.
yeah. I mean,
Because it's not like the game trials on Nintendo Switch Online is not a part of the expansion pack. That's something that was there with the regular
oh,
online.
that's nice. I didn't even know it was part of Nintendo Switch Online. I thought everybody could do it. Um, but that just shows how much I try stuff out on the Switch.
they
Anyways,
also don't
oh,
they also don't do it a lot.
okay.
It's like
Yeah, it's
when it
mostly
happens, it's like
Japanese
out of
games.
nowhere.
Yeah, it's mostly Japanese games
No,
I've
no,
noticed.
that's a mix. They did Overcooked 2
Oh, nice.
a while
Overcooked's fun.
ago, and I think they did a bunch of other Western games too. So it's
Okay.
a mix. It's a
Oh,
mix.
okay. But like the thing that a lot of people are having issues with is that it's not doing the day and date thing that Xbox Game Pass does. And I
I
get
really
that.
don't know why people were expecting that though.
Yeah, I mean, like people were prepared in advance that this wasn't going to happen. And I mean, Jim Ryan has said that it's not feasible for Sony to do that. But the thing is, I was listening to another podcast the other day and they actually mentioned this. And I was like, well, this makes sense now that they're saying this. Is like, and people might not agree with me, but this is
Mm.
almost like the whole thing Microsoft did when the Series X was announced around the whole smart delivery stuff. You know, that they came up with this marketing term and they shouted it from the rooftops, and people were like, we need smart delivery, it's so awesome and it's so amazing, and in the end it was a cool feature, but it's not like game changing, you know. Like everybody knows how I thought about smart delivery and how about and there was this another feature I even can't remember because it's so insignificant that I made an issue of, but like pe-
Backwards compatibility.
no, 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 no. But people say like, okay, you know, um, it's not doing games day and date. But if you think about it, yes, Microsoft says that they're doing all their first party games day and date to Game Pass. But if you really think hard about it, they don't have that many games that really want you to make them play them day to date. So like the only games you would want to do that in the last year, for example, is Halo Infinite and is
Mm,
Forza. Besides that, Microsoft is still working on their stable of first party games because let's be honest, Microsoft does not have a super great first party lineup. They have a lot of games that have potential, like Fable and State of Decay and all sorts of stuff, but it's like they're not doing something with it, or maybe just now. Like, where's Avowed? Where is all the other stuff they have in development, you know? And the thing with
mm,
PlayStation is like, I think it is kind of like out there that PlayStation Studios has the best first party lineup out there. So like people are comparing these two, but it's not a fair comparison because yes, it's not being done day and date, and yes, it would be really cool if they did it, but it would kind of overshadow and kind of take out the wind out of the sails of some of these games because a lot of people would be like, you know what? I'll just wait till it comes out on PS Plus the day it launches, and then I'll play it. And if I don't like it, I won't buy it. And then if they don't buy it, then the game will not bring enough money eventually, and then maybe some franchises will just die out because publishers are Sony's like, yeah, okay, we put a lot of money into this game. It didn't bring in a lot of money. It's not feasible for us to continue doing this because we blew a lot of money on this stuff, but apparently people don't want it. And Microsoft doesn't is not in that position just yet because one, they're rich ass, and second, they don't have a lot of first party
yeah.
games. So like they're making a big deal out of the day and date stuff, but there's not a lot of stuff out there to play day and date. It's more like a
Yet,
catchphrase.
by the way,
Yet,
yes.
yeah, definitely. Like if they get to the point where like Starfield, that would be the perfect game to be wanted to play day and date. But besides that, I cannot come up with another game that's coming to Xbox this year that it gets me excited. Whereas with PlayStation, we had Gran Turismo, we had Forbidden West. Maybe we'll get God of War. So like you see the difference there. There's already 3 games versus the one. So a lot of people are focusing on this whole thing about they're not doing it day and date, and I get it. It's cool. It would be super awesome if Sony did it. But the flip side is, if they did it, then maybe we wouldn't get as much cool games because it will, in the long run, affect all these games. And I feel like people are lacking that perspective because they've gotten used to this. Using your crack dealer example, some crack dealer sold them on this catchphrase called day and date, and now they're all hooked to it, and they're like, I want day and date, because Nintendo doesn't do it as well, and people are completely fine with that. So this crack dealer from the States is like, we're doing day and date, and then when people want to get their fix, there's not a lot to get day and date. So, you know,
Oh my god. What have I done?
this show is like, we have the most crazy
We're off
examples.
the
Yeah, we
rails.
have the most crazy examples in this show, and but that's the thing. And like personally, I want to try the extra tier because I'm really curious to see what kind of games they're going to add to it. Plus, to be honest, like if they add games to it that I normally wouldn't buy, such as for example Demon Souls, for me that's a reason to keep the subscription going. Like
Hmm,
that the fact that they're adding Miles Morales and Returnal, I think is great because one, Miles Morales is still one of the most fun PlayStation 5 games to play. Like everybody that gets a PS5, I tell them play Miles Morales first because that game is just so cool and fun. And then Returnal won the BAFTA for best game this past weekend, which is pretty crazy because like It Takes Two won in all other shows. So it's funny that
mhm.
Returnal won this one, and the head of the studio said, like, I'm really excited for Returnal coming to PS Plus because it will allow a lot more people to experience our game. Because it
Hmm.
is a pretty niche game. I can't imagine it being intimidating for a lot of people because they hear stories
Yeah.
about it. And now it's coming to
And
PS Plus.
they watch live streams of it, of
Yeah,
course.
and now it's coming to PS Plus, so it gets like this whole new lease on life, and you can play it with a friend together if you want, because they brought out the co-op update. So like, it's a whole lot of this game is getting a whole new audience. And to be honest, that's really cool. And it doesn't matter if it was day and date or not, because the idea of allowing your game to be played by a bigger audience is cool. And maybe Sony will start adding games down the line, like 6 months after release, they'll add Horizon Forbidden West. That's still cool because then the people that really wanted to play it in the beginning got to experience it, like me. And I'll be like championing the game and telling other people, like, hey, if you get a PS5, you need to play that game. And the people will be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll play it on PS Plus. So, it's stop getting hooked on the day and date stuff because it's not everything.
True, true, true. I will say this. I am the one thing, you know what I'm going to say about this, right?
Yeah,
Because the only thing that I am disappointed about is the classic stuff,
yeah.
that they put that in the high tier.
I
It's
get
too
that. I
high.
get that.
It's
Yeah,
like, come on, like the at least like okay, I get it. Like the PlayStation 3 stuff, fine, whatever. Like
yeah.
okay. But like the PlayStation 1 and 2 stuff and the PSP stuff, why is that in the like give us that and like be like, "Oh, it's going to be streaming only," but put that in the extra,
Hmm.
and like if you want to be able to download this, hey, there's the premium
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
allow you to download
Yeah,
some of these games. Like fine, whatever. I already don't like the fact that the PlayStation 3 games are stream only, which
I have a thing about that as well because apparently
yeah.
there's a rumor going around that because of the response people had to the PS3 stuff, it being stream
Mhm.
only, um,
They're working on emulation on PlayStation 5.
yeah, they're working on emulation for PlayStation, on a proper emulator for PS5. And I think like I mean, the reason that they're not doing it is a simple one. That they shot themselves in the foot when they came out with the PS3 by creating this super complex, sophisticated cell architecture, which was
I don't like
super
it when people
cool.
say that though.
Yep,
It's
it's that.
true,
It's that.
but by now, there's been like emulators that are able to replicate PlayStation 3
Yes.
on like less stellar hardware than PlayStation 5. So it's like that is kind of not an excuse anymore. This would have been a perfect excuse around the PlayStation 4 time. And if you're not going to do it for PlayStation 4, I get that.
Hmm.
But for PlayStation 5, which is this powerful, it
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah.
And the only reason I think they didn't do it also is because they were literally moving what they do with PlayStation Now to this tier. That is the only reason they haven't done it. So
Yeah, it could be.
it kind of feels like a lazy port. That's all
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying.
can understand that. I mean, like, I yeah, I mean, I think there maybe it's like the technological reason, and also the is are a lot of people interested in playing PS3 games, like that argument, because maybe they don't know how big that group is. But I
Well, you
mean,
don't know until you try, right?
yeah,
And people were not interested in PlayStation Now, where you can play PlayStation 3 games streamed,
yeah,
not download, just streamed.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure a lot of people had mixed experiences with them, and that's why they're not interested. And
yeah,
it makes sense if the if the experience isn't good, why would you invest in actually trying to play them?
yeah,
So then maybe the interest at that point is low. But if you make it like run natively or emulate it,
yeah,
it's a higher chance because
yeah,
that way you don't have to worry about internet dropping or whatever. Like
yeah.
while you're in the middle of, I don't know, Tokyo Jungle or whatever, or playing what's that game, Warhawk or Lair.
Oh man, layer.
I'm sorry. I'm completely being a jerk
Warhawk was a
by
really cool
mentioning
game,
these
by the
things.
way. That was just like Sony's answer to Battlefield. That was a really cool game. I put a lot of time in there.
Yeah, I mean, there Warhawk has its fans, but if you don't have something that's stable, what is going to get people to come back? That's the only thing that's kind of worrying for me. Hopefully they do this with the rest of the games, but also now we know why they wanted to shut down all the stores, because they wanted to do this.
Yeah, they didn't add Vita, so a lot of people are still a bit thing about that.
Yeah, so they didn't add Vita, and the PlayStation Portable store is closed
Yeah,
on PlayStation Portable. You
yeah,
can still buy PlayStation Portable games on Vita.
yeah.
Super weird that's possible, but whatever. Um, the really weird thing is that apparently there were some games that all of a sudden stopped working on like PlayStation 3s. Like people bought like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games, specifically Chrono Cross. They bought it on PlayStation 3 via PSN, and that all of a sudden they can't boot it up again.
Is it because of the remake coming out or the remaster or?
It's a very interesting timing, and one would say maybe that's why, but it's not just that game. It's just that a lot of the examples are pertaining to that game, because they're getting messages that the game was bought in like 1960 or whatever.
Okay.
So like there's like a software bug that says like the game was bought in a different time, so the game has expired,
Hmm.
so they can't play it anymore because the expiration date is in like 1960 something.
I always wonder
Um,
why it reverts to that, because I know with some
I-
computers as well, when their internal clock thingy gets messed up, it always goes back
yeah,
to like April 1st, 1960 or something like that. I'm like,
I think it has something to do with Unix.
okay.
I think it's a Unix thing. But that still doesn't change the fact that now all of a sudden stuff that people legitimately bought on the PlayStation Store
Yeah,
can't be played anymore.
yeah,
It's really weird.
yeah. It's not supposed to happen.
Hopefully they fix it.
I hope so.
I hope they do. But yeah, that I don't know.
Yeah.
Time will tell. I will say this: I will try PlayStation Plus Premium for a month just because I want to check out the classic games.
Mm.
I might actually convert my account in general to the extra tier. $100 is a lot.
Yeah, but they'll probably do
Hopefully,
like the sales, because I, for example, got
yeah.
my PS Plus for $45 because Sony does like these
I
Black
always
Friday
wait for those
sales.
sales
Yeah,
where it's like
yeah, me
45
too.
or
Yeah,
41 bucks or whatever.
yeah, yeah. The service is coming out in June, so it's a
Yeah.
couple of months before it comes out. And I think before then, the press will probably get some hands-on time, so we will hear about their experiences before it comes out.
Hmm. Yeah. You know what we'll probably not get our hands on?
Yes, I know.
Abandoned.
Oh,
Jeez. So recently, the director for Abandoned explained in a tweet why he was like. Apparently, there were a bunch of people tweeting to him and like the company about yo, like when the game coming out, when are you gonna show new stuff and stuff, and they were like taking down tweets, um, and like the director Hassan Karaman,
I think so. Yeah.
very difficult name. Was like, yeah, well, we like not gonna lie, like we were scared because of the backlash and blah blah blah.
Yeah, but they created that
Um,
shit on their own.
they did though,
Yeah, they dug
they
their
did.
own graves.
And the funny part is that he was talking about like how how the game is apparently still in the works. Um,
Yeah, right.
I'll believe it when I see it. And that they were still working on the prologue, which they said was going to be a free release. It's now going to be a paid release.
This game, from the moment it got announced till now, it just gone from bad to worse. And like I said it before we started recording, I mean, I think
Mm.
they're based here in the Netherlands. I mean, I'm this close to just driving up. I'm not a violent person. I do not condone violence, but I'm this close to just driving up to their studios, throwing a brick through their window with a note on it saying, "Shut the f up and come out and talk when you have something to show." Until that time, I do not want to hear a single word coming out of your mouth or regarding this game because it's vaporware at this point. I mean,
Yeah, at this point, it is
the
vaporware.
stuff they pulled, hinting that there may be a Silent Hill game, hinting that there may be a Metal Gear Solid game, hinting that there may be ties to
I think part
Kojima.
of it is also the reporting is went a little bit over the top.
Yeah, but like they
I
put
think
out
part of it is that too.
people asked like what's the name of the game, and then because they said Abandoned is a working title, and then they said the name of the game is a hint. It starts with an S, and then it's one word, and then there is a second word that ends with an L. And people were like, if I count all these letters, it spells out Silent Hill, so it makes sense for us to think it's Silent Hill. And people said like it's
Yeah.
Silent Hill, and it's like, no, it's not Silent Hill. And then they posted this cryptic picture of someone that looks like Solid Snake, that has an eye patch, that has a mustache, that literally looks like Solid Snake. And then it's all blurred. And then it has abandoned written on it. So you can't really make out who it or what it is. And then they're like, this is a teaser. And then people are like, yo, this looks like Solid Snake or a Snake or Big Boss or whatever. So people were like, this is Metal Gear or this is related to Metal Gear. So there was so much stuff going around. And if some would say it's really smart marketing, I would say it's deceptive marketing because basically what
Oh,
they're
it's
doing
definitely that.
is like they're deceiving everybody to generate a lot of hype for their game. Well, I better hope for their sake that their game actually comes out and is good because if it doesn't, I will bet you that everybody will grab their pitchforks and burn their asses down so that they will never be able to touch a computer and make a game.
Figuratively, by the way,
Figuratively,
figuratively.
yes. I do not condone violence, even though I'm very passionate about this subject.
Yeah,
But
because
like,
we're on YouTube, we have to be careful with stuff like this.
yeah, but like, I mean, stop doing that because you're misleading people, and that's generally not cool because it will bite you in the ass. It will backfire really hard because you don't want a No Man's Sky on your hands that you promised the world, and then when your game came out, it was like completely different. And yes, No Man's Sky has redeemed itself in a great way, but like, don't
Ultimate Redemption arc, by the way, No Man's Sky.
yeah, but like, don't be like that, Just don't promise people the world and then deceive them. That's just generally not cool.
It also doesn't help that they don't have a good track record. So
Yeah, because the games they made in the past are also like these vague games that all bombed.
yeah, they
Yeah,
weren't
this
doing.
studio has lost all its credibility at this point.
Yeah, but those that are working on their credibility are working with a new engine, though.
Yeah, that's good.
Unreal Engine 5 got officially fully released. I still haven't checked it out personally. I still need to do that somewhere down the line. Um, and yes, I have worked in Unreal Engine before, but that was like Unreal Engine 3, so that's a long
Mm.
time ago. And that was also in a school setting, so can't say that I've ever developed a game that ever got commercially released. But I'm looking forward to 5. I saw the presentation that they did, the state of Unreal.
Yes.
Get it? And they tried to do it like a presentation thing. It's like you see like Tim Sweeney and the dude looks super awkward because he is like that uber nerd. And like I say that because I know because I am a nerd and I am awkward like that sometimes.
Oh God. People have
Don't let
no
this
idea.
facade
People have
don't
no
let this
idea.
facade
Yeah.
fool you.
Yeah. People have no idea.
But oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, like from a presentation standpoint, it was kind of awkward at times. But from a standpoint, from a demo standpoint, the stuff that they explain,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of technical stuff, so I won't bring it up here. I would recommend if you want to know about that, they have it on their Unreal YouTube channel. Take a look. The stuff they showed though, I'm like, that is actually kind of really cool
Yeah.
and really badass if you're
Yeah.
working on a next generation system. Plus, it is a scalable, it's very scalable because they said the first game that they put out
It's
using
Fortnite.
Unreal Engine 5 is Fortnite.
Yep.
And Fortnite is on pretty much everything, including the Switch. So even the Switch version runs on Unreal Engine 5.
It runs on mobile as well, I think.
It also runs on mobile,
Yeah.
but you know, um, Fortnite is not on mobile currently.
Oh, on Android, right? Not on iOS, I think.
Nope.
Is
No,
it?
I mean you can. I think you can still sideload on Android,
Oh,
but it's
right.
not
It
on.
also got kicked out of the Android store. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot
yeah,
about
yeah.
that. Oh, wow.
But it does run on mobile if you play it on GeForce Now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I tried that. It's super weird.
Is it
It
laggy?
is. It's. It can be if your network connection is not good.
Okay.
And it was. I don't know. In general, it kind of felt laggy, but it's still in beta.
Okay.
But the weird thing is, it is running on a mobile version because it has the mobile overlay. It works exactly as it did on mobile,
Okay.
except it's running through GeForce Now.
Hmm.
Like at first I thought, oh, they're just like taking the PC version and doing like a screen overlay for mobile,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. As far as I can tell, graphics wise, and I can't be 100% sure because of the artifacting that I experienced,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like the mobile version.
That's nice.
So it's like they're emulating the mobile version through the cloud, and they're like the touch because it's using touch.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the touch buttons work as they should. That is super weird. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what kind of voodoo that Nvidia is doing to make this work for Epic, but it works. It actually
Oh,
works.
that's cool.
Artifacting aside. Artifacting aside and like some like dips in performance aside, it actually works.
That
So
is,
it's like,
yeah, that's,
okay,
yeah. I actually tried
that's
out
cool.
Xbox Cloud Gaming on my tablet, and I played like Hades for a couple of minutes just to check out, and I did it
Mm,
with the touch controls, and that also surprisingly works well because it just works through the browser. I have an iPad, so there's no app,
mm,
so you just go through the browser, and then I could not perceive any lag or anything. Like when I pressed the on-screen buttons, it attacked immediately. So I was like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool. I haven't hooked up a controller to try out some heavier stuff like Forza Horizon or stuff like that. But I was actually
yeah,
impressed by how smooth it worked. You know, like, whoa, maybe cloud gaming is actually getting to the part where people can experience it. And I mean, like, I know how well GeForce Now works, um, but in the landscape
because I won't shut it up about
that,
it.
and I've also tried it myself. But like, in the landscape of cloud gaming, there's only three, and the third
Mhm.
one isn't really our favorite. So
The third one is dead.
basically, yeah. But it's really cool to see that these two really work well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good to see that they're making progress.
yeah,
I think they added um virtual s- virtual buttons to only a select few games on Xbox 3 months ago or so.
yeah. So there's
It's a
like a
recent
separate
development.
library. So
Yeah.
you have like touch enabled games, and then other games require a controller, or they'll give you this big disclaimer like performance might not be
Yeah.
optimal, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did find out recently that one of the games that I really wanted to play on through the browser is Microsoft Flight Simulator,
Hmm.
and it's actually on the cloud version.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I haven't tried it out yet. Otherwise, I would have been talking about it in what we've been playing. But it's something that I still need to do. I just haven't had the time to do
Hmm.
it because of other stuff that I will be talking about in what we've been playing.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, like Unreal Engine, they also announced, or what are they called again? The Tomb Raider developers.
Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics announced that they're working on a new Tomb Raider
Yep.
that is being made in Unreal Engine 5.
Yep. Fun fact: the game director, I think it's the game director for Days Gone, has moved over
Yeah,
to Crystal Dynamics and is working. He hasn't said on what he's working, but he said he's working at Crystal Dynamics.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's working on this game.
Probably
But this game is not coming out for at least, I, I venture to make a guess, an educated guess, and say
next
it's not
year.
coming out for at least 3 years.
I don't know about that because it's been a while since they've
Because
done
it's
something.
because I think they said it's still early. I think they said they're still in the planning stages.
Okay.
Um, as far as I can tell.
I think the cool part about Unreal Engine 5 from what I've seen is that it will actually be able to speed up game development a lot because there's so many tools in it. Like there's this tool for open world games where they can just segment the open world in smaller chunks so that different teams can work on their chunk instead of
Mhm.
working in the whole open world. And I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it even comes with this multiplayer shooter engine, as it were,
Hmm.
or game, as it were, that is fully customizable and can use that to make your own like multiplayer versus games,
Oh,
like
nice.
multiplayer shooter versus games.
That's cool.
I think I don't remember what it's called. There was so much information
Yeah.
that I kind of just let wash over me. Um,
They've also announced that
I think it was called Jammer or something.
okay. And they've also announced that
Yeah,
CD Projekt Red is switching to Unreal Engine 5 for the new Witcher game.
thank goodness.
And
Thank goodness.
one of the reasons they switched is because Unreal Engine is obviously more stable and it doesn't break like your own engine does. So it doesn't give you like 1600 issues while you're trying to fix the bugs of your game, which we, of course, know happened with Cyberpunk. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's great news that they're using Unreal Engine 5. So it will look really, really pretty.
Yes, and it will actually be stable.
Yes, maybe not
Okay, I'm sorry.
get delayed three
I'm being
times.
I'm being a real jerk today for some reason.
Uh,
I don't. It's just I don't know. It's just like between Cyberpunk um and like just the whole ordeal with that. It's been super. It's been super weird with like with like CD Project Red. So
yeah,
I don't know. I do want to see them succeed,
yeah,
specifically the developers. Um, but they handled it so poorly that they've been bleeding like talent, and people don't want to work because of the whole work culture stories that have come out since then. So they're having a tough time getting people to join.
yeah.
So I hope they're moving to Unreal Engine 5 and their recommitment into bettering the work culture within does get them the talent that they need to make a new game.
I think
But
eventually
only
when they
time will
start
tell.
to show off the game, it will attract more people because people love a good redemption story, and I think that they've proven with The Witcher that they can make great games. So I think a lot of people,
Eventually.
yeah, I mean, like I think people
Eventually.
will for that nostalgic feeling be like, I would love to be a part of The Witcher 4 because I enjoyed the other Witcher games so much. So I would want to work there. So yeah, that basically.
Mm, true. True. Speaking of working, we round out back to Activision because where's that article? Oh yeah, there it is. So remember a while ago when the whole thing dropped with Activision Blizzard, with the accusations of like sexual harassment, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, yada yada yada. The other part of that story was that they were not treating their QA testers well
Hmm.
or at all. They were all contract hires. They didn't get good pays. They didn't get the benefits of being an employee, despite the fact that the hours that they have to put in. Now they're saying that they're going to be making like 1,000 QA contractors full time employees
Nice.
with a big fat caveat: they are not allowed to unionize.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which specifically the Raven Software QA department is not allowed to unionize. If they do,
because they were unionizing, right?
they were gearing up to unionize because, well, again, Activision Blizzard is a crap place to work, or work for, um,
I
and they were
wonder.
gearing up to unionize. And this is basically their way to quell that.
I wonder if it's like. I wonder what stage Microsoft is involved with all this. Like, if is Microsoft treating this like till we
As for
till the acquisition is complete, you get to do whatever you want and we don't care? Or is it more like, no, 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 from now on we want you to run every major decision through us because we, it will impact us in the future, so we kind of want to know what we're getting ourselves into.
I, th- that's actually a really good tweet. I don't think there's an answer for that that's public.
No.
As far as I can tell, they are still running their own day to day until the acquisition is complete.
Yeah.
Before that, Activision is essentially making the company more appealing for Microsoft
Yeah.
by the time it's done, and I think this is one of the reasons why. But it's really scummy
Yeah.
that one of the caveats is that they're not allowed to unionize.
Yeah.
It is very scummy. Yeah, you're gonna get full benefits and blah 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 blah. But don't unionize.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to if you do. If you take this money, we're giving you the money now. So don't unionize. It's like, no, it's not about the money, gosh darn it. It's about how people are being treated.
Yeah.
Like the money, obviously, because people have bills to pay.
Yeah.
But if you're giving people the money and you're still treating them as a number,
Or if the working conditions don't improve.
or the working conditions don't improve, what's the point, right?
Yeah. It's like the
I
carrot and the
mean,
stick.
yeah, yeah. In that case, it really is like the carrot and the stick.
Yeah.
Um, So Activision Blizzard has confirmed the promised raises for QA employees will not be eligible for employees attempting to unionize at Raven Studio. What the actual crap?
I uh I think it's a very dirty, dirty move.
Hmm. Yeah, it kind of sucks. So you can either become a full time QA tester and you'll get a pay raise, and you are not allowed to unionize, or you can unionize, but you are not getting a pay raise or getting permanent employee or full time employment. Not permanent.
I wonder how
There's a big
Microsoft
difference
does
between
this.
permanent and full time.
Yeah, I wonder how Microsoft
I
looks at this.
mm,
I would say that.
I at this point I don't think they. I don't want to say that they don't care, but it's not in their purview yet. So
Yeah,
it's not their responsibility. Activision Blizzard is still responsible for itself
yeah,
because, like you said before, the deal could be like said like you're not allowed to do this deal if like the FTC has anything to say about it.
yeah. Or maybe some European Union regulator.
I don't think any European Union regulator has anything to say about the sale
Well,
since
I think
it's
in
two US companies. I think the FTC is basically leading
yeah,
the
but they
charge.
have subsidiaries in Europe as well.
True.
Because I think that was also
Yeah.
the thing with the ARM deal with Nvidia, that it needed to be approved like globally or like in
Yeah,
multiple
but the same thing
countries.
goes for Bethesda. They also like ZeniMax had a bunch of
Yeah, but
developers
ZeniMax
in
isn't
Europe
as
too.
big as Activision.
Yeah, fair.
Plus, the deal was like what, like three or what, 5 or 6 billion versus what, 60, 70
That
billion,
was nah. That wasn't that like 8 billion or
or
something?
like 8 billion
Whatever.
compared
It's
to
like
seven. Yeah,
it's big numbers versus bigger numbers.
yeah,
It's like numbers that we can't even comprehend. The lowly people that we are.
yeah. That's like
The
way
only one.
above my pay grade.
Yeah. Wow. Is that even a pay grade at that point?
I don't know. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Oh man. Um, I think we've had most of the news that we put up, right?
Breath of the Wild 2 got delayed.
Oh yeah. Wow, I actually forgot
And you
about
said like, I'm not gonna write that down because that's something I'll just remember. Yeah,
that. I'm sorry, we talked about so many
I
things. Like,
know.
oh yeah, right. Breath of the Wild 2 got delayed. Gee, oh wow, oh wow. Did not see that coming. Oh wow. Oh wait, no, I did see that coming.
Yeah,
Because I totally talked about it multiple times. Even when they said it was going to come out 2022, I was like, "You're saying 2022? You're not saying, you're not saying May. You're not saying a season, just a year.
yeah.
Sure, sure.
But I think, and
And
we've talked about this, I think this creates the perfect moment or the perfect launch title for a Switch Pro or a Switch successor.
for a new Switch
Yeah,
system,
so I think
and
that's
I
the
agree
reason.
with that.
Yeah.
I do agree with that because the patterns are uncannily similar to when Breath of the Wild first came out
Okay.
or was first announced. Because when it was first announced, it was a Wii U title,
Yeah, I know.
and they showed off that beautiful, beautiful backdrop of Hyrule,
Hmm.
and it looked gorgeous. And then they had the whole thing be like, all of a sudden, it was like animated and stuff. It's like, oh, I thought it was just like an animated like wallpaper, but it was actual like, um, well, it wasn't actual gameplay, but simulated gameplay,
Yeah.
and it looked really cool, like with the Guardian and everything. And that was like years before. That was, I think, it was teased back in 2000. I want to say 2014 or 15,
Okay.
something like 2014.
Yeah.
This was before we knew that the Switch was going to be a thing. It was still rumored as like Project NS, um, and like that got delayed and delayed and delayed. They showed stuff. They even showed a working Wii U version with like a completely like a different HUD, but that's because they were still working on the game as very early. And the weird thing was they showed that demo off screen, so it was Miyamoto and Iwata, and they were talking about the game, and Miyamoto was playing the game, or was it? Or was it Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma? I forget. It's been a long time, but they weren't showing the game in full. Like it wasn't like, oh, they're showing the game like in full, like full screen. It was on a screen in the background. They were playing it, so people had to like digitally enhance the image so they could see what's going on. It's like, that is really weird. But okay, we'll let that slide. And that went on for like a long time before we saw like footage from the game. And the next time we saw it was at E3 2016, and they were still saying, "Yes, this is a Wii U exclusive."
Yeah.
NS, what's that?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yes, we were working on a new console, but don't think about that right now. This is a Wii U exclusive. And then November came around, or yeah, October came around in 2016, and then we saw the Switch. And guess what was on the gosh darn Switch? Freaking Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It's so hilarious. I'm pretty sure that because the sequel still doesn't have a title.
Yep.
I think with either they're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna see something in October, November, or December about new hardware.
Hmm.
I don't think, I'm not guaranteeing that that's the case. This is my speculation, by the way. This is an educated guess. I do not have any kind of like contact pertaining to like Nintendo stuff in the industry. So please do not quote me on this. This is 100% just a fan making an educated guess based on history. We either get something at the end of this year that gets announced, or we get something at the beginning of next year that gets announced in tandem with the title of the Breath of the Wild sequel.
That's both sound plausible.
I don't know what that's gonna be. At the latest, if they do announce something, it would probably be at the Game Awards, which is in December always.
Hmm.
Um, and that's actually the perfect time because around that time, most games are already out. So most big titles are already out. So there's enough breathing room for a big announcement to be made that'll just suck up all the oxygen in the room, as to so to speak, and just be the conversation of the holiday.
Yep.
So whatever holiday release happened, oh no, there's a new system with a new Zelda, and it's gonna be amazing. The only thing that we know right now is that it's a new Zelda game based in Breath of the Wild. It's a sequel. It's gonna take place on the land and in the sky, and somewhere else apparently. Because when they announced the delay, Eiji Anuma said, "Yeah, we already showed you that the game is gonna take place in the sky and on land, but it's also gonna take place somewhere else." And he didn't specify where that somewhere else was.
On the water,
So it's
maybe.
like underwater. Unlikely, because Hyrule does not have a lot of bodies of water, unless you count the ocean.
Yeah.
Um, Another dimension people have floated around, which can be true, because Hyrule has in the past have different dimensions. Think about Link's Awakening, where you have the Dark World, or A Link Between Worlds, where you have Low Rule, which is literally the dimensional opposite of Hyrule.
Okay.
So it's not like it
How
hasn't happened
original to
before.
call it low rule, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's below Hyrule. Get it? Hyrule. Low Rule.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
mean, it's at this point the most plausible thing is it comes out with the successor to the Switch and whatever that's going to be called, the Switch Pro. They probably won't call it a Switch Pro, but like,
no,
no.
they'll
So
call it something else.
yeah, so
I'm still hoping for Super Switch.
that would be really cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I feel like it's way more plausible now that they do something like this at this point in time,
yeah,
because the Switch is 6 years old.
yep,
They said that they are not going to be retiring the Switch yet. The Switch is at its halfway point in its life.
yeah,
So whatever is going to come out, it's going to be a Switch system.
yeah. I mean,
It's
like,
going to
and
be
it'll
at the
probably
very least
be
backwards compatible with the current Switch.
exactly. And I mean, like, it would be really weird if you turned your back on this massive audience while you're doing
Yeah,
your new
because they're
system.
like at, I think, where are they
A
now?
hundred
It's over
million.
100
Yeah,
million.
it's over 100 million. So
They surpassed the Wii sales, which I think is like 111 or something.
something like
So
that.
the next milestone is, I think, the DS, which is at 156 million.
And then probably PS2 after that. I think the
Where
PS.
is the
I think
PS2
the
right now?
PS2 is the best-selling console ever.
I think it's still the DS technically. Well, here's the thing: they make a distinction between
Handheld.
console and
Yeah.
handheld, and as like even as a handheld, I think the DS sold more than the PlayStation 2.
Oh, possibly.
I want to
But
say
then again, there were a lot of iterations of the DS for years.
DS, DS Lite, DSi, DSi XL. Yeah,
3DS. Did you call it out?
no, 3DS is its own thing.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
about
the
that.
3DS sold like the Switch already outsold the 3DS, because the 3DS was like three quarter, like somewhere around six, not even 60 million. I
Hmm.
think it was maybe okay, maybe more. I
Okay.
forget. It sold okay. Let me
Okay.
put it that way.
Uh,
It sold okay for what it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lastly, I noticed there was one,
Mhm.
which came out after the PlayStation Plus announcement went through, and that is that Jim Ryan has confirmed that there are multiple acquisitions on the way. So, I
We
mean,
talked about this.
yeah,
I mean, before we started recording.
yeah. So I
Um.
personally said, with the success of
Mhm.
Elden Ring, I think it is within the realm that either Sony or Microsoft will buy From Software this year. Um, I hope it's Sony. Um, but
Of course you do.
I think, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens because Elden Ring is the best selling new IP of this generation, and I'm like counting the PS4 generation as well. And the previous game that held that title was the Division. So like, it would be a strange move to let this developer just independently float around. It would be far more strategic to just buy them outright and have them work on something like Bloodborne 2 or Demon Souls 2 or Elden Ring 2 or whatever. And I mean, we don't really have a live service Souls game, and I think it could be pretty cool if they're. I mean, like, it makes sense for them to join Sony stable because Sony still wants a lot of first party single player focused games. And then they're also trying to get more into the live service space. So like if they could combine the two in a way that works instead of that only focuses on the money, I think this could be really cool for a lot of people, because you play, I mean, Elden Ring aside, I think you play a Souls game and then eventually you're just done with it because you're really happy that you finished it, and secondly, you've put so much time in it that you have this fatigue. I think with Elden Ring, of course, it's the massive. The world is so massive, you just keep coming back because you haven't discovered a lot of stuff. But I think it would be pretty cool if you could like do stuff together with friends, or if there's constantly content being added to the game to
Mm.
make that experience last even longer.
Mm, I don't. Here's the thing, because I said this also off stream. Like, I think it's unlikely for From Software to sell themselves to a company unless they're completely aligned with them and they get complete creative freedom.
It could be like the Bungie
It's more
deal.
like it's more. Mm, yeah, but with the Bungie deal, the reason why they did it that way is because they want the tech.
Yes.
They did it for the tech. They didn't necessarily. I honestly don't think they necessarily did it so that they can say they own Bungie.
No.
Otherwise, they would have outright have just
They
bought
just want the
Bungie.
expertise around live service. But I
They want
think
their
in
expertise.
this case, they can say, hey, From Software, you like making games. We love selling games or funding games. Here's a big bag of money. Just go out and make another game because, we like that.
But if that's the case, then they could just do that outright and make Bloodborne 2, like they did with Bloodborne 1.
Yeah, but
Like
then there is the
we want
risk.
our own Souls games. We know that we kind of messed up with Demon Souls. Um, we need a second chance, please.
Yeah.
Make Bloodborne. So they made
Yeah,
Bloodborne.
but there is a risk
Well,
that Microsoft snatches the company right from under you, and then that game never
but if
gets
they
made.
don't align with Microsoft's ideals, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If Microsoft says like make more Demon Souls games and they don't want to make more Demon Souls games, I mean now they do want to make the games that they want to make. But what if Microsoft says like, well, eventually you have to make games that we want you to make?
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a reason why they're still independent.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they have a deal with Bandai Namco to publish their games instead of being a part of Bandai Namco, because they're not part of Bandai Namco. They just have a deal
I
with
know.
Bandai Namco to
Yeah.
publish their stuff. Um, Also, I said that up until this point, Sony has explicitly not bought any Japanese developers.
Yep.
The fact that they also shuttered um, the PlayStation Japan studio, or the Sony Japan studio, is also kind of a thing. Like the only thing that's left is Team Asobo,
Yeah.
and that's like a small retention of that group. It's not what it used to be. It's not Studio Japan. And you're never gonna see a new Ape Escape, for example. Or gosh darn, they've worked on a lot of wacky games. I'm not remembering the titles right now except for Ape Escape.
Yeah.
But they like Vib Ribbon, or other like super wacky games that they don't do anymore. And it's kind of, honestly, that's a little bit disappointing. It's cool that they're making awesome, amazing like single player experiences. That's great. But the thing that, again, the thing that makes me a big Nintendo fan is that Nintendo has a decent portfolio of other stuff.
Hmm.
Like if they were just the platforming studio, they would not survive. They would have already have folded like years ago.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they do other stuff. It's the fact that they have Zelda. It's the fact that they have Smash. It's the fact that they have Kirby. It's the fact that they have Mario. It's the fact that they have all these other stuff that they can rely on, which, to be fair, Nintendo is still also not doing a great job at that, because we still haven't seen a new F-Zero in forever. The last Star Fox was divisive. Um we haven't seen, like, outside of Splatoon and Pikmin, they haven't done anything new recently. But they do still do experimental stuff. And that's what I like about Nintendo. They will do experimental stuff.
Hmm.
They'll do a Ring Fit. They'll do a Rhythm Heaven. They'll do WarioWare. They have all these weird, quirky stuff that they still do, and that's great. I love the variety of Nintendo, and Microsoft with all these purchases is kind of trying to do the same thing, because if you look at all the studios that they bought, it's like a variety of. It's like a. Hmm, I wanted to say it's a coalition rainbow of developers. And it is, because you have like RPG makers like the Bethesda and Obsidian, but you also have stuff like Arcane Studios that just made Deathloop, and you have other studios like what is it called again, Tango, that makes horror games. There's a variety of stuff now that they're doing. They recently put out, which is kind of unfortunate that not a lot of people are talking about it. They recently put out a new Age of Flipping Empires of all things,
Yeah.
which is a strategy game, and that's not stuff that people make anymore. At least not to that extent.
Yep. Yeah, I think the audience has become very small and very niche.
And that's kind of a shame, because
Those games were really
back in
fun.
the day you had a lot of variety of games, and
Yep.
all of the games are starting to be super similar.
Yep.
And now they're doing the stuff with the live game services, and I kind of hate it. There are good games, don't get me wrong, there are good games that come out of that, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same as a random game that they put out. It's not like, for example, Square Enix does weird stuff, and they seem to be acknowledging their past, which is nice, but they're also acknowledging it in a half-assed way, which I kind of hate. So I hope that Sony, or at least Jim Ryan, well, seeing the error of his ways is kind of a strong word to say, but sees the light.
They'll probably
Just so,
buy Deviation Games next, the super innovative game guys.
oh, they're definitely gonna buy them, because they don't, as far as I can tell, they don't have a studio that does first-person shooters, and they're
Gorilla,
invested. And they, when's the last time they did one?
Killzone, Shadowfall for the PS3, 4. Yeah, but like I think
What
in
was that? What was that? 2013?
Hey, but hey,
Hello.
I think a lot of people are happy
It's
that
been
they
a
did
decade.
Horizon. Yeah, but like I think in the case of Deviation, it's because they're ex Call of Duty developers. So Sony's probably
Yeah,
banking on them to hope that they release something in the vein of the next Call of Duty, so Sony can capitalize on that. But so
yeah.
far, I think rarely has a studio been able to replicate the success of Call of Duty, even though
Not
there
even
were,
Call of Duty.
yeah, because there were even with ex developers, because the original Infinity Ward is a Medal of Honor developer, so they kind of did it on themselves.
Yeah, like that whole family tree of that developer is super weird.
Yeah. Oh, Respawn.
I'm
Respawn is
wondering
the
if,
only one that did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Respawn is the only one that did it, and they still are not allowed to make a Titanfall
Yeah.
3.
But I think it's really because Apex is so successful.
Yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah, because at this point, if they make a new Titanfall 3, like the core audience that love Titanfall 2 will buy it, but the rest will be like, I have
Is
Apex.
there a core audience that still play Titanfall 2?
Yeah, because the servers were all hacked and stuff a couple of times in the past, and you have
A
this
lot of
you
times.
have this fan base that really loved the Titanfall 2 single player. I loved the Titanfall 2 single player. It was like really good.
Is that on EA Play, by the way?
I think it
Oh,
is.
easy there.
I think it is.
Might have to look at that.
If
If
you
that's
haven't
the
played it,
case,
it is
if that's the case, I might have to play
it is
it,
one of the
because then it's on
best
Game
single
Pass.
player campaigns for like a shooter in the last few years.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
I will give it a try. I will definitely give it a try when I get some time.
yeah,
But speaking of time, I think with that we've talked about all the news articles
yeah.
that we gathered. So shout outs to game developer .com, IGN.com, PlayStation Blog, of course, WCF Tech, tweakers.net for all the news that is fit to play in this segment. So stick around. We'll be right back with what we missed. we're back with the second segment. As always, it's with what we've been playing. Sean Templar, what have you been playing?
I haven't played a lot because I'm still not in the mood to play anything, and that's okay. So I've played a little bit of Cyberpunk on my PlayStation. Yeah, I mean, like I play like little bits here and there. I've been mostly watching TV shows or catching up on TV shows. So
Did you check out the Halo show?
not yet. I'm waiting for everything to air so I can binge it in one go. But I'm a binger, so with a lot of shows, I wait till it's completely aired.
Ah, okay.
I did watch Bel Air, which is like a remake of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, but with a more serious note. I
Mhm.
actually like it. It's really good. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. It's not.
The super gritty Bel Air?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's really good. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Euphoria a little bit, and like
I
everybody,
still
a lot
haven't
of people.
watched Euphoria.
Yeah, Euphoria is really good. But yeah, so Cyberpunk a little bit. It's Cyberpunk. The PS5 version is really good. I mean, there's no wacky ass stuff going. It's just really good. Finally,
Hmm.
it's kind of how the game should have launched.
Yeah,
Uh,
if they just waited another year.
yeah. So that, and then I've also been playing. I started playing Rome Total War on my iPad because initially,
Again?
yeah, again, because I think like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I finished the whole campaign on my iPad. And the
Hmm.
other day, I was just bored, and I was like, I started a new campaign, and I thought like this will probably bore me out in 10 minutes. And before I knew it, I was playing it the whole night. And then I remembered, like, wait, I have the remake on the PC, so why shouldn't I just play that? So the other day, I spent like I think 3 hours playing the remake on the PC,
Hmm.
which obviously looks prettier and has a couple of added stuff in there. So I was like, yeah, this feels really nice. And like normally, I always have the same strategy. Like I pick a Roman faction, so you start off in Italy, and then usually I just work my way up into like from Italy, I work my way all the way up to the Netherlands and also get like Spain and France and stuff like that. So I never go either down into Africa or into like Asia or the Middle East. But this time I just did the opposite. So I just went straight into Africa and got Carthage and stuff like that. And I'm slowly expanding in that direction. And I'm also normally I'm like I take a settlement and I occupy it, and then we build from there. But it could get if you take over another settlement with a different culture, it will give you issues in the long run. So I
Hmm.
either occupy the settlement and I distribute the population, enslave them, and literally just distribute them among my other settlements so those settlements can grow. Or if I notice that it's a really annoying type of, if I have a feeling like these people are going to get really annoying from a culture point of view, like they're going to instigate a lot of riots and stuff like that, I just exterminate the whole settlement and then I just start over. Yes, I
Dude, what
know.
the heck?
I know it sounds very gritty, but like when you're trying to build an empire, you just have to make really hard decisions.
Oh,
And
God.
these are the decisions the game gives you. Like ideally, I would just have everyone just be around and just make friends with everybody. Like be a dictator of the people for the people. But in this case, the glory of Rome and the greatness of Rome has more importance. So
This is worse than making China grow larger. Gosh
yeah.
darn it. Jeez, at least there you had diplomacy.
Yeah, so in this case, well, I still use diplomacy. I just go to everyone and I get trade rights, so I get a lot of money through trade. And then if
Hmm.
somebody pisses me off and they declare war, then I just keep on fighting them until I've wiped out their whole faction. And then in the meantime, they'll come at me a lot of times and say like, "No, no, we want peace." And I'm like, "Yeah, you should have thought of that before you attacked me. There is no peace. There is only death." And then we just go on. So yeah, I've been playing that, and there are a couple of games I really want to play, but I haven't gotten them
Hmm.
yet. So like, I want to try out the new Skywalker Saga with the Lego game because it looks really cool.
Same, same, same.
Yeah, I really want to play that, and I want
It's
to.
apparently like super big.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
because
it's
it's
a really long game because
yeah,
it's like all the stories.
yeah. That's why I kind of want to play it because I know that they released like a Lego game for almost all the Star Wars movies, but this one is like supposed to be the best one out there because it has everything in it. And I was contemplating of getting it either on the Switch or on my PS5, but I'm gonna get it on the PS5.
Is
Um,
it crossplay?
nope.
Crap.
Yeah, it only has local co-op. It doesn't have online co-op.
Online.
Yeah,
Yeah, they never do that. Like
I think
the franchise has never done.
I think
It's
one
always
of
done it's never done it's never done online. It's always done
yeah,
local.
I thought the Force Awakens has had online co-op. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
But that, and then I am thinking about maybe getting Elden Ring because everybody's talking about Elden Ring, so why not do it? And then yeah, played Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit more, but I really want to play it on my PlayStation. I don't enjoy playing it on my PC with an Xbox controller. I don't know. It just sucks out the enjoyment for me. So I want to play that one. So when I've missed the sale. So when it's in sale again, I'll probably buy it
Mhm.
for the PlayStation and play it on my PS5. And yeah, there are some like minor games I want to play, like Death's Door and stuff. I'm contemplating of getting it maybe on the Switch. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's basically it. Like most of my time is just Rome Total War, and now they released a remake for or like a mobile version of Medieval 2 Total War. I played that game like when it came out in 2006 or something, and I put a lot of time in that. But after that, I never played it. So I'll probably
Hmm.
buy that for my iPad and be playing that a lot on the couch because it's just really easy to do. I just put on a podcast or the TV and I just play the game while watching or listening to something. And
Good times.
yeah, but it works. The funny thing is it works really well on a touchscreen, a strategy game,
Hmm.
because like a lot of because you're using your fingers, and I think it also has the stylus support. Even the newer one, the medieval one, supports keyboard and mouse if you want to.
Oh yeah, because yeah, you can do that now.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
even without that, winning battles is pretty intuitive because you can just select all armies and come up with different strategies. So I would be pretty happy if they released something like Age of Empires for tablets or something like that because that would really work.
I wonder if Microsoft would actually do that.
I don't think so
Yeah, I don't think
because even Company of Heroes came to mobile platforms, and Company of Heroes is a pretty cool game.
so. Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I feel like there's this whole untapped. I mean, I know mobile gaming is pretty big, but it's like it feels like it's always the same kind of games, the gotcha
Gotcha
games.
games.
Yeah. So, but I don't because I think Rome was $14 and I think Medieval is also $14, and then you just get it. And if you want the expansions, you can just buy them separately as an in-app purchase, which is okay. But the fact that I have no issues with paying 15 euros for the game and then just having a fully fledged game I would normally play on my PC, but now it's on the go and it looks really cool. I
Yeah.
wish a lot of developers started looking into that market, but I think it's maybe niche, and that's why they're not doing it.
That and like the mobile community is just not about paying like a la carte for games.
Yeah, that's like
They'd
really
rather
weird.
play something
Yeah,
gotcha
yeah,
or like even like like I like even like the 99 cent stuff is all gone. It's
yeah,
all gotcha now.
yeah.
If it's not free to play, like it's not gonna be successful.
That's so weird. Yeah,
Yeah, it's super weird.
I think it just shows that what a huge difference or like a divide there is within the gaming audience. So like you have let me just say the mature audience that's they're like I don't mind paying for a game. I'll pay $60 for a game. And then there's like the kid slash younger audience, and they're like, no, I just want as much as free stuff as I can get. And like they're also
Mhm.
equally divided over their platform. So they like my nephew, he's 7 or something or 8, and he has a Switch, but he also plays a lot of games on his iPad. And like if I look at his iPad, it's like loaded up with all sorts of free games, and he plays a lot of that. And then he sometimes plays on his Switch, and I'm like, oh, kiddo, if I when I was your age, I was rocking away on the PS1 or the PS2, and I had the time of my life.
Yeah, same thing. And like even back then, like I was on the Super Nintendo and I didn't own a lot of games, but you know what
I rented
did
a lot of
exist?
games.
Thank you. Renting games. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, I miss that so
I
much
missed that
sometimes.
too. That was
Like
so cool.
like renting games. What just so good.
Yeah.
And that you can't even do that now anymore. But gosh darn freaking Stadia could have actually made a difference there.
Yeah.
If you could rent games through Stadia instead
Mm.
of buying them outright, I'd be like, you know what? Fine. I'll rent the game for like a weekend. Like I'll pay the $5
Yeah.
because that's what it used to be like. It used to be like how much? I don't even remember. It wasn't even that expensive to
You
like
had
rent a
like
game from like the video
yeah,
lobby.
you had a game for a day. You had to bring back in 24 hours, or if it was an older game, you could keep it a week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is what I usually did.
me too.
Or I'd keep it for the weekend because usually I would only be allowed to play Super Nintendo in the weekends or on holiday. Um, so yes, yeah, like that's how I discovered Earthworm Jim. That's how I discovered and fell in love with Secret of Mana. That's how I played. Fudge! I played so many games that I rented. I
Me
don't even
too.
remember
But
anymore.
also like a whole far more variety of games. Like now,
Exactly.
I always play the same type of games because maybe it's also because you're an adult and you know what you want. But at that time, it was like the Wild West. You would play anything, because you're like somebody recommends it and you're like, okay, I'll
Yeah,
try it. Or somebody's like, oh, that's really cool. And I'm like, okay. Or they had really cool looking
yeah,
box
and then the
art.
game ended up being super weird.
Yeah.
Like Phalanx, which has an old man playing a banjo on the cover, and it's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's super weird. Like the only hint that it's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up is that in the background, because it's a night sky, in the background, you see a spaceship flying. That's
Ah.
the only hint that there's a spaceship in this game.
Oh, wow.
Other than that, there's like this old dude in overalls with a banjo and like this beard, and he's like looking at the cameras like, "What's going on over here? What we got over here?" It's like, why is this called Phalanx? Why is this old man with a banjo staring at me? And why when I put the game in is it
Exactly that.
Oh man, I
But the
miss
funny
that
part is
times.
we got to experience all this stuff. So like my
Exactly.
nephew will never know how that was.
Yeah,
He's just
it's
like paying $60
to
for the
us that's
game.
sad. Him, he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, he doesn't know better, but like yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm really happy that I was born in the time I was born because I got to experience a lot of cool stuff. And like at the right moment
yeah.
because I mean I don't want to I would have felt like I wasted time if I was born in like the 70s or the 80s because then gaming was like up and coming. But like
Hmm.
I was born in the time that the Super Nintendo was out or the NES was out and the PlayStation 1 just had come out. So like it was the perfect spot because I was like playing all these games instead of going to the arcade and popping in quarters and playing.
I do kind of miss that though. Like, I we have that now,
Yeah,
kind of, sorta,
yeah.
which we still need to, to do a thing on that. But yeah, I mean, it's different from when it was back then,
Yeah.
and especially like in places like Japan where it was like the culture
Hmm.
and like a whole community built up around like the arcades and even like home console gaming and stuff like that. It's
Yep.
You don't have that anymore. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Hmm. Ah well,
What?
maybe something will change.
Yeah. But that's basically what
Hopefully
I've
for the
been doing. What have you been playing?
well, I mean, there's only one game genre that I've been playing.
The
So
I like to
we
torture
talk about
myself by
variety.
dying.
We talked about variety, and I'm literally playing the one game. Well, the one game genre, and that's Souls likes.
Yeah.
So like I said before, I still play Dark Souls in between whenever I can. Just But as I also said in the previous episode, I think I said it. Um, I started my Twitch streaming month of April, the Elden, the Elden month, the Elden Ring month.
Oh wow.
So this whole month of April, I'll be playing Elden Ring on Twitch. Um, Maybe some loose. I still owe the community a karaoke stream, so that will still happen somewhere in between all of that. But
People
for the
should
most part,
definitely
it's
tune
all
in
gonna
for that
be
one.
Elden Ring. You missed out the last time when I did the
No, I
8 hour
watched
stream.
a little bit of
Oh
it,
wait,
and
you did. You saw a little bit.
yeah, I
Gosh
was
darn it,
there in the background and I laughed my ass off.
jerk.
It was funny. It was yeah, it wasn't silly. It was funny.
Oh, I'm sure you found that entertaining.
Oh, I did. I even texted the people like, "Yo, man, you should check this out. This is so funny."
Oh
Yeah.
no! I don't know. It's fine.
But you
It's
know
fine.
what those
The
people
more, the more,
said?
the
Those
merrier.
people
What?
said, and I agree with them. I commend you for it. They said like, I love the fact that he has a I really don't care attitude and he just does what he likes. He doesn't think about how he comes across or what other people think about him. He's like, F it, I'm just gonna do what I want and what I like, and that's it. And as long as I have fun. And I said, like, hey, I agree. I envy him for doing that because I can't do that, but I really think that's really cool that you do that. You're like, I don't care, man. I'm just gonna do karaoke, and I'm just gonna do it, and you do it, and that's really
Yeah,
cool.
it was fun. I mean, I'm joking, but jokes aside, it was
Yeah,
a really fun time. Like the whole day was just fun. I
yeah.
played a bunch of stuff, and Demon Souls. Dark. I keep making the same mistake. Dark Souls stuck. And I've been playing that ever since. But now I'm playing Elden Ring,
Nice.
and I did my first stream. The first playthrough I did on stream. So from the beginning, which I might have should have not have done because the beginning is like a whole bunch of exposition and then character creation, and that also took a while. I sped through character creation. Normally, I take like my time to do character creation, but I didn't want to waste people's time on stream, so I just made a quick character who looks okay or interesting enough.
Do you make a
Um,
character or try to make a character that looks like you, or
no, because I always play female.
oh, okay. Do you make a
Yeah.
character that looks like a female version of you?
No, ew, that would be so weird.
I don't know. I
No,
was
that
just
would be
asking.
really super weird. No, no, like, mm, yeah, no. I mean, I just make a character that looks good, or
Okay.
at least good in my eyes. Just like, oh, this looks like a cool character. Cool.
Okay.
Try to make them look as badass as possible. So, like, my character has abs, but not like you could make the characters really buff in this game,
Really?
which is yeah,
But
really buff
but
if you
does
want.
that affect gameplay or is it just pure
No,
looks?
no, it's aesthetically. Yeah,
Okay.
can also make them look old, which is really creepy
Yeah, that I can imagine.
because then all the skin kind of is saggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're playing
And
the
the worst thing is you have like this you have this class where you don't wear any armor at all. You can't wear any armor at all.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that's something that's been in all the Souls games.
So then you just look at a
In
wrinkly old
Elden Ring
body.
it's yeah, you look at a wrinkly old body in like a loincloth. And
Okay.
like if you're a woman, of course you have like a boob bandage. So like it covers your boobs, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it sounds really super
Yeah,
discriminatory
yeah,
against
let's
old
not do
people,
that.
which is not the
Yeah.
point. Which is not the point. It's just in Elden Ring, it just looks really, really weird.
Okay.
Just in Elden Ring. That's because the graphics are just like that.
You're playing it on PS4 or
I'm playing it on PS4. Yeah. Um, and it runs fine. It runs smooth, a bit too smooth because like my skill set from Dark Souls
is on a Switch.
kind of do and do not translate to Elden Ring because the when I played it on the PC it was 30 frames per second. When I played it on Switch, it's 30 frames per second. Elden Ring runs at 60,
Really?
which kind of it seems like it.
On
It
base
runs way
PS4?
smoother. I think so.
Whoa, I'm
I
surprised.
think so.
Okay, that's cool.
I'll need to double check the what's it called again? The Digital Foundry video again. I'm pretty sure they said it ran at 60.
Let me just check.
Um, and at the very least, it runs way more smoother than Dark Souls does. Let me put it that way. It runs smoother than Dark Souls. And my timing is completely off when I'm trying to parry.
It runs at 30
But
FPS. At 1080,
really?
yeah, 1080p.
Huh. It feels way smoother. Maybe they like up the animation.
Could be.
Um, but like my timing is way off. I can't parry as well as I do in Dark Souls now, which I've been way better at parrying now since I've been playing it for so long.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, that's super weird. But they added a bunch of new mechanics. For one, you can jump. There's a dedicated jump button. There's this new counter mechanic where you guard counter. So when a character hits you while you have your shield up and you immediately press R2, you do a sweet ass counter, and then you can kill them,
Okay.
which is really cool. You can still like now you can actually like sneak around. You can crouch and walk around and like sneak around and hide in bushes, and they won't see you as long as they don't see you
Wow.
on time or too late, or whatever you want to call it. And you can still sneak around behind the character and then do the backstab. That's still a thing. Or you can parry and then do the front stab. Or you can now also add it to the repertoire, do the guard counter, guard, and then counter as long as you still have
And
stamina.
attacking, is that linked to the R1, R2 buttons, or is it linked
It's
to...
still the same as all Souls games. So R1 is light attack, R2 is heavy attack,
Hmm.
L1 is shield, L2 is special ability
Okay.
now. So instead of just being parry if you have a shield on, if you have a shield, it's parry. If you're doing two handed sword, it's I forgot the name. It's something with an S. Standoff.
Ah, okay.
So you stand with instead of holding both swords, you hold one sword and you're like you ready yourself, and then you can
Ah, okay.
use R1 or R2 to do an attack. To like basically do like a kind of like a super attack. Well, not a super attack, but like a special attack. If you have a torch in the left hand, you can use it to set people on fire.
That's cool.
If you have a wand in your hand, you can do spells. Um, so yeah, there's also you can also summon creatures now, like spirits,
Hmm. I saw that.
to help you, like wolves, or what I recently got was like a jellyfish that shoots like it's poison.
Okay. How
It's
fitting.
really cool. It is very fitting. The wolves are cool. But when they die, and then I think you have to rest at a site of grace, as they call them in this game, instead of a bonfire.
Okay.
But they're clearly bonfires. Um, there's a lot of things that they change that is literally the same. They're not souls anymore. They're runes. They you lose them the same way as you do in all Souls game. Um, this game is both way more accessible
Okay.
and way more challenging
Okay.
at the same time. But it does it in a really cool way. If you're intimidated about Elden Ring and like playing a Souls game, or if you've heard, oh, it's easier, stop, check some tutorials online,
Okay.
then go into it. If you're really serious about playing it, make sure you check out a few tutorials online. There are a lot of people that put up some really good stuff on YouTube and even on TikTok, for all places. Um, and they explain stuff, and they explain why the game is the way it is and why certain mechanics are the way they are and the best strategies to do and undertake. It is a really cool game. It looks really pretty. Um, I keep forgetting that you can do fast travel in that game. For whatever reason, I keep forgetting that. And yeah, so I've been playing through that. I'm probably going to be playing through that most of April, like I said. I still haven't picked up Kirby. I may do so next month when I have a bit more time because I'll
I thought
be on
you
vacation.
did you not have it reserved for you at a shop nearby?
No, I did not because, like I said before, they closed my local game
Oh, that's
store, and
right.
now if I want to go to a game store, it's like one city over, and it's like
No, I'm
it's
good.
fine. Nah, it's good. All right. Also, I want to pick up Chrono Cross, but I want to get the physical copy, which is only available in Asia, and that costs like almost $40. I know I can get it digitally for 20, but with the current state of digital things and like what I just talked about in the news segment about the whole Chrono Cross on PlayStation Network, it kind of makes a very good argument as to why people still want physical copies.
Hmm.
Um, because when you buy it digitally, you don't own it; you just own the license to play it.
Okay.
That, yeah, that's nah, I don't like that. I have a lot of games that are digital only, and that's fine for now. But that's mostly because it's like indie titles. I don't like buying like full box games digitally because I always fear like it's one day it's gonna be gone and I'll never have access to it
I can understand that.
again. So yeah, especially with a game like Chrono Cross that did not get a re-release until this year. Um, Even though it's not the best remake, but it's Square Enix, so they're always weird with back and forth. But at the very least, they put it out so that people can rediscover it. So
That's good.
something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I've played anything else except for maybe check out Fortnite.
They've added building again, I
It's
saw.
Yeah, but you can also still I think you still can choose like not to build,
Yeah.
and like not building is like super popular right now.
Yeah, because I think it makes it more fun and more accessible for a lot of people.
It is. Honestly, I played the no building mode and it's like I don't build to begin with. So for me
Me
there's
neither.
like zero difference, but now everybody else is on the same playing field,
Yeah, I stopped
which is
playing it
nice.
because I can't build, and by the time I could build a box, people would build whole mansions, and I'm like, yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like playing this.
Yeah. I don't I would recommend trying it out with the no build mode and see how you like it.
Mm,
I
yeah.
would I kind of want to see what your opinion is on that one. But with that, I have reached the end of the stuff that I've been playing.
All right, and with that, I'll try to wrap this up. So thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Game Rivals. We always appreciate your support. You can find us on basically all podcasting platforms or the major ones: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Overcast, Stitcher, um, basically wherever you get your podcast. You can find us on Twitter, game underscore rivals underscore. You can find Maximilian on Twitter as well, at Maximilian. You can reach us through email, gamerivalsfeedback@gmail.com. There's also a video version of this podcast. It goes up at the same time the normal audio version goes up. You can find that on YouTube, but we will put a link in the description of this podcast episode because there are multiple Game Rival accounts out there, but there's only one, of course, us, obviously. Duh.
Obviously.
This is the way. Um, you can find us on Instagram, at Game Rivals and at Maximilian underscore X. Same goes for TikTok. You can find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/ Maximilian underscore X. I think you're gonna stream which days in the coming week?
Well, by the time this goes live, I've already streamed on Monday if everything went well. And if everything went well, I'll also be streaming this Thursday. So that means the day after this episode goes live.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll see you all there.
Awesome. Do check them out. I'm also on Twitch, but it's been a while since I streamed. I am twitch.tv
Please
slash
come
Sean
back.
Templar. Yeah, I am. It's just I have so much stuff going around, and the fact that I don't even play a lot of games right now, I just need to get back into that mode. But the summer's also getting closer. So in the summer, I rarely play anything because I'm just outside the whole day socializing with people, or mostly just
Touching grass.
mostly just sitting and just drinking something with people and just laughing. um and I think I have had them all. On that note, I have been and always will be Sean Templar,
I've been and I'll always be Maximilian X.
and we'll catch you on the next one.
Later.